A topic that we focus on in Venus Centered Lover is the archetypal masculine and archetypal feminine, as exemplified by the lover in Venus, for example, and the warrior, Mars, for example. I'd really love to hear your perspective on what's happening with the modern warrior archetype.
You can drive a truck in the Army, or you can be a long-range patrol guy. The jobs are very different, and I was kind of the poster boy for the Be-All-You-Can-Be Army at one point, and introduced the paranormal array of activities in the Evolutionary Tactics Manual. And a lot of the diagrams showed sentient connections made with little dots of energy. We're basically trying to take what came from the world of the East, which we opened up in Vietnam, and talk about energy as it's resident in the body, as it can be combined. Fields of energy can be combined. We almost never talk about that. But the warrior used to come from the farmer who was a hunter. And once you enter the forest as a single being, your eyes, your ears, your nose, every sentient sensory apparatus that you might own comes into play.
Or else you might become lunch.
Absolutely. And you won't find anything if you're just stumbling through the thicket. So when I looked at my rifle platoon in Vietnam, I noticed while we were trying to be stealthy that people's senses opened up, and that all my men did not have the same senses. Some could hear a truck 2 miles away and tell me which way it was coming or going the other way. Others would be preeminently warned about danger, like the tone of doom, which is something they speak about in people who die. You get a feeling of doom. And I could see it on their faces, so I just made it my job to go up and say, "Hey, Johnson, what the heck's going on?" So, "I don't know, sir, but about 200 meters up there's trouble." So with that kind of a warning, I turn the listeners on, and then I pick two of the lightest, stealthiest guys, and they would go up and, using their nose to see if breakfast had just been served in the local village, and their other tool set, they became paranormal. And they were all sort of different. I had to learn to use them. In 319 days straight of search and destroy, nobody discovered us. We didn't have to shoot anybody, and nobody got shot. So, paranormal. Now, if you're a long-range patrol guy and you're in there for 4 days, you are just one walking radar. Now, how I translate that as a Renaissance man into my behavior as a lover is that, oh my gosh, I want to open all the systems up to start with. Exchanging breath, for example, if you do it slowly enough, oh my gosh, the two being states actually transpose. I guess it's water molecules that are doing the work. So that sets the big radar in motion, the big feeling system. And then as we explore being together, touch is a huge deal. Like a good masseuse, before they work on you, just put their hand on your back. And after the energy starts to exchange, then they move. That is a huge signal to your psyche that what's about to happen is going to happen smoothly, softly, and then with just a little comment to open the dialogue, like, "How's that?" And the answer is, "That's fine," or "faster," or "deeper." And that includes also occasionally smacking and pinching and using the back of fingernails, and all the ways you can touch somebody into an awakening state.
I love what you say, into an awakening state, because we want to be awake for this experience.
Oh, that's the deal.
Yeah.
This is a sentient experience, sensual experience. It's not a knowing thing. No, it's good if the music is great. Yeah, and by the way, you have to be picky about that too, because it's driving, and it's not good to start off driving a truck, but but actually touching a piece of jewelry, well, it makes a huge difference all the way around. So, activating senses, mixing senses, exchanging breath, exchanging energy, moving with quiet discussions about how things are going until, that relationship becomes safe and dependable. And the wang bang stuff can come, but don't play it too soon. I think the biggest, when they ask women what the biggest thing about sex is, you can't quite go slow enough, buddy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So slow is another aspect. And creeping through the jungle without snapping a twig and using your nose to see if there was something there. They definitely used our deodorant as a way of telling if we were coming.
That aluminum chlorhydrate.
Yeah. And of course the question about how do I smell doesn't have to happen during the dance, but could happen as a general question, because some people are decidedly like different smells. Smell can ruin the whole deal, for example. So check that one out up front.
How about a shower first?
Yes. Well, and that's a sign that the next question could come too also. Yeah.
And to look at this as for the warrior, because when we look at the love story of Venus and Mars, Mars was the archetype of the warrior. So he was the whole masculine, thrusting forward incarnate, and yet he was the preferred lover of Venus. Venus, who could have any lover in the world, chose Mars. So he couldn't be ramming his way into a love relationship with the goddess of love. He had to have these kind of tactile sensitivities to even get to first base with her.
Well, yeah, at least 2 or 3 gears forward. One good neutral and one reverse. All those gears applicable, because it is a delicate assembly of interpenetrating energy fields that brings the overall thing to a state past love, past sacred to majesty. And of course, then other beings can intercede and finish your sentences. And that's a very exciting place to go too. So the point is, if this guy can get out of the way for a while, and all of the antenna can get used and sensed and awakened, well, you can just climb the stairs to ecstasy. But intimacy to ecstasy, slow, teasing a little faster, teasing a little faster, fast. Stop, breathe, exchange breath again, something like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Great.
So I have one more question. There's a lot of talk these days about the rise of the divine feminine. Now, to my mind, we need a rise of the divine masculine also. What would you speak to that? Like, how can the masculine in us or men themselves show up for this really important time on the planet?
Well, just as the feminine wiles would allow for a whole set of very subtle connections, and the divine feminine is also a wake-up artist, and in that she has an edge in that department for sure, and shape-shifting as needed. Maybe a little ornery to the point of I'm getting your attention on this, please. Mars, please wake up for the moment. Mars, being a doing kind of a character, has to take more pauses. He has to be more present at a slower pace when the divine feminine is speaking. Otherwise, his ego will react to the fact that he's not performing. See, the guy is always He's not unworthy because he performed too much? No. He's unworthy because he didn't perform. So he's waiting to make sure he's okay as a man. But in this case, the divine masculine is not trying to get anywhere. The divine masculine knows there are 6 different speeds to Sunday. You know, the divine masculine may not even have his spear out, and if he notices carefully, he's not expending energy there, and the other kind of spear is just doing fine. There is another transmission going on. So, and this extends the game to a lovely, you know, pace and level of expectation. Guys are programmed by porn, guys are programmed by the story they get from other men, and it's mostly all about bigger, faster, harder, stronger, longer, all that. And it's just about a third of the full symphony of what's possible.
So the divine masculine can actually be the protector of holding a space,
Yes?
to allow the divine feminine flower to blossom.
Absolutely, and to make the space itself secure. Right. Not rush the occasion if it doesn't need it. Rushing only turns off the more subtle senses. You know, you want to accumulate the senses as you go. Layer them up. Yeah, that's well said. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Ah, good. Yeah, delightful. Venus.
Thank
Mars
you,
checking
Mars.
in.